You have found the retirement key. I am Casey, and I am here with certified financial planner Joshua Barbin of Abish Financial Services in the DC area. JB, great to see you. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Casey. Feeling good. How about you?
Feeling good as well, and I'm so excited to chat with you again today and to help more people plan for successful financial futures. Remember, if you're listening, you can connect with us anytime. TheRetirementKey.com is where to find us, or all the info you need is posted in the show notes for you. So, JB, you and I both know that when it comes to choosing a financial advisor, it's a very personal decision. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. So today I wanted to ask you about what kinds of things people should be looking for when it comes to finding the right advisor for them. So I've made a list of 7 things I want to get your thoughts on. Does that sound good?
Oh, perfect.
All right, kicking it off. Top of my list here, credentials and qualifications. What should someone be looking for here?
Well, could we start on the highest high level? Funny thing, I went to find a dentist and a doctor myself the other week. Kind of newer to the Ashburn area, been about 6 months working with Abish, and had to find a dentist and had to find a doctor. It's a challenge to find a professional that you trust. But I will say, I went to a doctor a little bit combative, a little bit abrasive about what I was doing. I'm not like the greatest health out of anybody in the world, but I'm not terrible.
Yeah.
And but it was the style. And then I went to the dentist's office, and man, they just had a beautiful office. The vibe was really cool. They had TVs above the chairs, and that really made me feel good about the way that they practiced in general. So I think starting off, I want to feel comfortable with the person I'm working with. Yes, I want to know that the person that I'm working with knows what they're doing, and that's where credentials do come in. When you look at credentials, you have people who are generalists and people who are specialists in our business. I would call myself more of a generalist. A CFP is the highest generalist specialization. We don't have med schools, law schools, but we have that. It gives some standard of a practice. And the other designations I got were to kind of go around that to help kind of round that out. Though there are some people, like Abe has a very specialized designation.
Right.
And so you might be a specialist. Abe always was retirement focused. I was always a general practitioner that has come into retirement planning. But that's kind of you do want to see designations. There's a lot of them out there. You want to kind of know what the designation is. Is it fit to what I want to do?
For sure. All right. Well, once we've made sure that they've got those right qualifications that we're looking for, number 2, we got to look at the services they offer. So talk to me about that.
Yeah. You have a lot of options out there now. Again, it's kind of the niche or the general. I would say Abish, we're more of a niche firm in that we only work with retirement people entering or close to retirement, and retirees, of course. Whereas a lot of firms, this is that phase 1, phase 2 thing we always talk about. Some firms are only concerned with growth, and that's great. Growth is always important, but when you get into retirement, you need more than just growth. Preservation of capital, distribution of income, also equally important. And you might find yourself working with a generalist in that sense, not specializing in retirement planning every day. That's why we only work with people 55 and older. It's because we want to hone in that focus, and we've found there's enough people in our area that need that service. So when you're searching for a firm, you want to find a firm that matches your life point and what you need. And if it's retirement planning, Abish is always a good choice, but there's other firms for other needs as well.
Sure. All right. Well, on to number 3. And this one's a very important factor, fees and compensation. There can be a lot of gray area in this department. So what do people need to be looking for here?
Yeah, a couple things. So number 1, a lot of people come into our office and don't know what they're being charged in fee. So it's good to know. Transparency is key in fees. Just knowing what the fees are. If you can start there, most people, if that's the key, that you know what you're being charged. I'm going to say 30 or 40% of the people I work with, either as prospects, don't know their fees, truthfully.
Scary stuff.
Yeah, that is. And then the second thing is investment fees, the underlying fees, especially on your investment products. Like I had someone come in the other week who had low advisory fees. And Abe always says, you get what you pay for. And that's a common saying. Abe didn't invent it, but it's a good saying. You get what you pay for. And the guy came in and he had low fees. He has lower fees. But I looked through his investments and I found that the company that he was working with was putting him into index funds with really high fees on the fund level. So it's not all, there's a number of level of fees that you need to be aware of, and we try to be very transparent as a firm just to understand what those fees are. That's the biggest thing, is transparency and fee.
All right. Well, number 4 on my list of what people should be looking for in an advisor, their investment philosophy. So what are your thoughts here, JB?
Yeah, an investment philosophy is going to be different for me or you, Casey, maybe, younger, have a long career ahead of us versus a retiree. That's kind of the highest level. You do want to have an investment philosophy that matches your life stage, that matches your ability to take risk and your tolerance for risk. I mean, those are your 3 factors there. And one of our key philosophies at Abish is no large losses early in retirement. And that's a very important planning concept in retirement, and it's something that we really build an investment philosophy around. Now, you have your Vanguards. Remember, we had plenty of people come in the office, they worked with Vanguard or just kind of did it themselves and had really low costs and grew their portfolios, and that's wonderful. Not always the best approach as you get close to retirement, however, because most of those Vanguard philosophies are kind of what we would call strategic or passive, meaning you're just holding, you're buying and holding through whatever environment you get. And a lot of times when you're a retiree, the idea of being down 40 or 50% on your portfolio is probably one of the worst nightmares that you could imagine. And we find many of the prospects that come into our office could find themselves in that scenario in a certain market environment. So it's about having a philosophy that matches your lifestyle, your risk tolerance, and just being aware of all those factors. Many times people aren't aware of if their portfolio matches that.
All right. Well, this next one, I think it's one of the most important. You touched on it briefly at the top, but it's that client relationship. So what do we need to be looking for in the approach here?
Yeah, again, you could have somebody who gives amazing advice. I mean, or is just like very competent and is kind of a jerk. I mean, you could have that, and you're probably not going to act on that advice or receive it in the way you would when you feel good, when you trust the person you're working with, when you can relate to them, and you feel like this is another human being that's developed some skill and that can really help me, when you feel comfortable in your retirement. It makes the journey. Most of the people that love working with Abish just love coming into the office, love our team. That's a special thing that we really, I think as a firm, it would be hard to match. But you have to come into the office to see us, but you'll see what I mean when I say that. But creating that feel, that family environment of love and warmth, that's such an important piece of the advice journey of any advisor, whether it's a dentist or a doctor or a financial advisor. And we put a high premium on that. We think that that's very important, and we really try to do that with every one of our clients.
Right. And it's like you touched on at the top. You didn't feel so great at the doctor's office, but they made you feel really warm at the dentist office. And now you're likely going to become a patient at the dentist office, maybe not so much that doctor's office that you visited.
Yes. And I felt good about their recommendations. And the doctor had some good points, but it just didn't feel as good. And honestly, I canceled my next appointment with that doctor. I want to feel comfortable in the office. I want to feel good with the person I'm with.
Right. And your doctor, it's another very personal relationship. So you want to make sure it's the right fit. All right, closing in on the end here, a big factor in the financial industry is compliance and transparency.
Absolutely. You can look up any advisor. You can kind of look up a lot about them through the SEC websites, and they provide you a good bit of information. Obviously, you want to work with somebody that doesn't have a criminal background or civil, complaints or lawsuits against them. That's usually not a great sign. And we really, Abe, I know, focuses very hard to make sure our team doesn't have that, keeping a clean record, so to speak. And that's important. I mean, I've had people come in across the desk and say, we didn't realize that this person had all these complaints against them and they never told us that. And, you really want to work with somebody that does have a clean record and has shown a consistent compliance with the rules and regulations throughout their career. So that's important. It's very important, actually.
For sure. All right. Well, last but definitely not least on my list, number 7 is personal fit. We kind of touched on this, talking about that client relationship, but it's such a personal decision. What is the most important thing people should be keeping their eyes open for when it comes to choosing a financial advisor to work with?
Yeah. I mean, even within our office, you have Abe, you have Justin, you have me, who are on the advisory team, the client-facing advisory team, and even the three of us, we have a different style, all three of
Sure,
us. And,
for sure.
and someone might come into this office, really love the Abish philosophy. They may lean more towards Justin or Abe or me. And there's a piece of it that's going to be feel and what really will move you to make great decisions, to feel good about your retirement, to feel confident in the plan that you develop. Some of that is just going to be feel. I can't put a good measure on it. It's just, does this person feel right to me? Does this firm feel good to me? And then there's a part of it where you do want to know that what they're doing works and is consistent and makes sense, and it's a tried and true strategy. So there's a bit of the feel and there's a bit of the mental, but you got to have both. And a good advisor is going to have that. They're going to be able to have great competence, and they're going to have a great feel.
Like with a lot of things in life, you got to follow your heart.
Yeah, a little bit. It's a little bit of a heart follow.
All right. Well, JB, this has all been fantastic information. Choosing a financial advisor, it's not a decision to be taken lightly. So let's say someone is ready to start that process. They want to check you out, see if you're the right fit for their financial needs. What should they do to get in touch with you? I
think the first step, Casey, would be to go to the retirementkey.com. And you can check us out from there. I think that's a good way to at least check us out, see what we're about and see how we do things here at Abish.
And it could be an interview process. You could meet with a few before you find the right fit.
That's right. And that's the way to get on our books and get an interview with us.
All right. Well, thank you so much, JB. And thank you for joining us today. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well so you never miss an episode. I am Casey, and we will see you next time on The Retirement Key. Thanks, JB.
Thanks, Casey.